Welcome to another episode of our Beyond the Numbers interview series, where we talk to Valley leaders about what advice they would have for themselves if they could go back to when they were a staff or senior accountant and why they love accounting. Today, we're speaking with Mike Lolli, who is the VP of Finance Corporate Controller at 𝗚cie_𝗹𝘀𝗿. Welcome, Mike. Let's get started. Tell us what advice you would have for yourself if you could go back to early on when you were a staff or senior.
Yeah, first, that's a long time ago, so it's hard to remember 30 years plus, but yeah, great question. The age-old question: if you could do it all over again, what advice would you give? I think for me, what I would have liked to have known at that time was, really where did I want my career path to lead to? What was really the pinnacle that I wanted to attain? And the great thing about our profession is there's so many paths you can take in accounting. Largely, there's the public accounting realm, which has great career paths. There's government accounting that I think was probably underplayed when I started, that really is a viable path now that is lucrative both financially and professionally. And then, of course, corporate accounting, where you could be in the public realm, privately held companies, listed companies, large companies, small. I wish I would have known at an earlier age, which path did I want to take? And if I could identify what that was, really sort of cater my career to building the skill set that I would have needed to achieve that. And the great thing about the technology today is that that's easy to determine. We can talk to recruiters, we can talk to other professionals. We have websites like LinkedIn. I can go in and see what's the job posting. If I wanted to be a CFO of a publicly held company, I could go review what they're looking for. What's the prerequisite skills that I would need? And if I would have known that and have had it really been able to set that goal for myself, I could have really plotted a course, I think, professionally that would probably taken me in different directions and ensured that I'm checking off those boxes along the way. So, obviously you're not going to be CFO of Intel after a few years, but, if I wanted to aspire to be that level of professional, I would have looked at, should I have gone into a large company environment? Did I need international experience? Should I have been a division controller or a division CFO? I mean, all these sort of path milestones that you would have to have hit before you had the potential to be, a CFO of Apple or something to that effect. So that would have been my advice. Just see if you could have set that target early and then identified along the way what were those critical skills that would, lead you to that end goal, and ensure that you were continuing on that path, right? And if you hit a point where you felt, boy, I plateaued out with this organization, then you're going to have to look at a new opportunity that then gets you the next set of the skills you need. So that would have been great advice to myself at that time.
I've never heard that before. So really what you're saying is, when you're a staff accountant or a senior accountant, look at the job descriptions of positions that are posted for controllers, CFOs of maybe companies that you're interested in. Look at the requirements, look at what they do, and then make sure that you're checking those boxes.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, I think in today's day and age, it's so much easier to know that, because all that information is sort of at your fingertips. I mean, it's easy to find. You can do it yourself without having to sort of network into that information. So yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, great. So now you've kind of answered the next question within your first answer, but I guess, why do you love accounting, or what value has accounting provided for you in your career? Because sometimes people are like, well, I really don't love accounting, but it's done this for me. So
yeah,
I'll let you choose.
So twofold. First and foremost, I think for me, and this is probably more personal, I love the balance and order of accounting. So just on the fundamental basis, accounting is about order and balance. And my wife will kid me all the time, Mike, the debits and the credits have to balance. You can't be off. And I always like that, because I think that way. I like organization and order in my personal life and my career. So accounting, I think, is fundamentally built to appease people like me. But really, what's great about the profession is I think it's the bedrock and foundation of business. And if you look at any type of business you're in, they all require an accounting system, right? Everything is based on the financial transactions of an organization. They do things differently in different industries, but ultimately at the center of business, and by its own definition, is transactions. And I think with accounting, you get full understanding and full access to every aspect of how an organization operates from a financial sense. And as you then advance throughout your career, and this is what I've loved the most about accounting, is you tend to do less accounting, right? As you become a controller, and then you move on to, if you're fortunate to be a CFO or a VP, it's less about the transactional journaling of business. It's all the tangential spaces that then surround the accounting system. You deal with salespeople. You're helping them build out sales strategies, and because they need to know cost data. How is our products costed? How much can I charge for them? So you get to put your fingers in the sales cycles. You get to make decisions on investments. Am I going to buy a piece of equipment? Well, I have to justify it. It affects the accounting system. Everything from mergers and acquisitions to legal analysis, contract reviews. That's where it really got fun for me from an accounting aspect, is I got to now play in all these different sandboxes that are outside of just traditional accounting. But again, you're sort of the center of the universe as an accountant.
Okay. So when you got to get rid of the transactional stuff, even though the order and the balance, you're making more big picture decisions.
That's right. Yeah, it's still, again, it comes down to, they always say, well, the accountants have to approve it, and, we have to do the number crunching, and that's always very important. But yes, it's much more strategic. It's much more big picture. And again, I think you get to have your influence felt in a lot of other departments as you progress. And that's been the greatest thing about accounting for me, is just being able to then interact with other sides of the business, through my lens as a CPA and controller and CFO.
Okay. Any other advice that you have for people that are considering going into accounting or at that staff and senior level in their career?
Yeah, the real advice I would give anybody, I think the profession has a lot of options for people today. I mean, it's great. You don't always have to be, a Fortune 500 CFO to be successful. I think there's a lot of different avenues that you can take, and great companies to work for, and it's fine to be, a big firm person or a small firm person, or a big company or small company. But the one bit of advice I would give is, if you're starting a career in accounting, and you do have aspirations to continue and develop in that profession, I think starting in public accounting is the best thing you can do for yourself. And I've always advised anybody thinking about a career to really consider public accounting as your first stepping stone into the profession. The camaraderie you have with the people is fantastic. The training you get, the firms will generally support you in achieving your CPA, which again, I would encourage people to go after if they have aspirations to grow. Public accounting, I think, is the fundamental best way to get the training and the work ethic and everything else, the building blocks that will propel you on. So if you can, I encourage you to do it. Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time today, Mike. We will put your full bio in the notes below, and we'll stick your LinkedIn profile down below as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to Mike directly, his LinkedIn profile will be down there. And stay tuned in another couple of weeks where we will have another episode of Beyond the Numbers, where we talk to another Valley leader about their advice and why they love accounting. Thank you for your time, Mike.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.